Oh, that was excellent.
That was perfect.
Best clap yet.
Best clap yet. Dylan.
Top 10 claps for sure.
Top 10. I hope so. Have we done 10 episodes together? We had to have, right?
Have we done 10 episodes? Yeah.
Yeah?
We've done like 15?
Have we?
Ish.
I don't know. I lost count.
Well, I did a few before I was officially co-host.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to think of.
And yeah, we must have done 10 already.
I'm going to say yes.
I'm sure. We're in our mid-30s.
We are.
Terrifying as that sounds.
We are in our mid-30s. We are inching up there. How are you? How was your weekend?
I am excellent, never better.
Okay.
I was actually talking to David a little bit earlier because
Yeah.
I got a PS5.
Okay.
Against my better judgment,
Wow.
maybe. It was right after my birthday, and I said, Dylan, get yourself a little gift.
Treat yourself.
Get yourself a little gifty.
Nifty gifty.
A little nifty gifty just for Dylan. And I went over to Best Buy.
Okay. Best Buy sells PS5s?
They do, yeah. Uh-huh.
I don't know why I just thought of Best Buy as like a computer and like TV.
They sell those too.
I know, but I forget that like of course they would have gaming systems. I just didn't.
Yeah.
My brain didn't process that. Okay. Anyway.
It's interesting though because the name Best Buy could be the name of any store.
Literally anything.
They could sell.
You
produce.
know what? Now that you say that, do they just sell electronics?
Yeah, more or less.
Then why are they called Best Buy?
I guess because you can get the Best Buy there.
The
which
Best Buy.
isn't true because if I went on Amazon, or went to Walmart, I could have gotten a PS5 for much less.
Why did you go to Best Buy then?
I don't trust a Walmart PS5. Are you kidding me?
Listen, where I'm from, we only had a Walmart. So that's where we got all the Christmas gifts. So we had to trust it. Or we got nothing.
I feel like if I went to Walmart to get a PS5, they would just sell me a PS2 with a 5 painted over the 2.
That is probably accurate.
Yeah. And I would be convinced because I'm
yeah.
like, oh, okay. It's been a while since I gamed, but it is monopolized so much of my free time.
Yeah. How so?
I got the 3 longest games for the system, and I have been playing them sort of concurrently. So I expect to be finished by the time I'm in my late 40s.
Jeez, when you say longest game, like,
yes.
Wait, what does that mean?
So the games with like the most like content in them. So like
how long are they supposed to take on average to play?
So I think it's like
I have no concept of this.
Sure. So I got Elden Ring, which is
okay.
Was actually co-written by George R.R. Martin.
Oh, okay.
And that game to like 100% it, I think takes like over 100 hours.
Jeez.
I got Red Dead Redemption 2, which the story for that takes a lot of time as well.
Oh my gosh.
And I got Baldur's Gate 3, so I could play D&D game.
You can play in D. You can. Having a stroke. You can play D&D when you're not playing D&D.
Yes, exactly right. And I played D&D yesterday as well. So
and you're like, I need some more. I need more.
And my D&D character that I'm playing in real life, as well as in the game, is the same character.
Arnastus Bean.
You're right, Mr. Bean himself.
I'm very familiar.
Yeah, just so I have an opportunity to my old man voice.
Yes.
You're giving me a look like you want to hear the old man voice.
I do want to hear the old man voice.
I'm weary.
You can't say that you can do an old man voice and then not do the old man
that's fair.
voice.
Whenever I say that, I'm just like begging somebody to ask me to do the old man voice. So I make like unflinching eye contact with them.
Yeah.
And
that's what happened. That's literally just what happened right now.
Hail and well met, traveler. Holy shit. I swear to God, I'm a jock. I swear.
Self-proclaimed jock.
What's new in your life?
I have been super busy with rehearsal.
Yes.
That has been like taking over my life. It's really fun though. So like I can't like complain. Like it's I do it because I love it and it's fun for me. It's just a lot. Like this is the quickest rehearsal process I've had and it's like the show is in 2 weeks and we have not finished blocking and like choreographing things.
Choreography, which you're famously
known for.
Yes.
I don't have to do much of it, which is nice.
Okay, no spinning around in a circle near any light.
No,
fixtures,
no, absolutely not. The most I do is. Do you know what a grapevine is? Don't worry.
I think I do.
Okay, I did a grapevine, and
Yeah.
That's the most I had to do.
It's like an early version of the gritty.
What's the gritty?
You never seen someone do a clean gritty?
No.
It's when they stand up and they so the gritty is kind of like flossing, but forward. Instead of horizontal flossing, it's vertical flossing. But think about that from a bird's eye view. And then that is essentially what the gritty is.
I'm so confused.
None
of this makes sense to me.
There's a great podcast that I listen to sometimes called Hollywood Handbook. And the one line that I remember from that show is, imagine a picture of it and then use that to imagine.
Wait, what? A picture of it?
Yeah. To imagine it. Just imagine a picture of it and then use that to imagine.
Wow, that does sound like Hollywood. That sounds pretty accurate, actually.
So what's been the most challenging part of the process so far?
It's a great question. I have never been an understudy before.
Mm-hmm.
This is my first time as an understudy, and it is going really well, actually. It's just different. It's just a lot. So, like, usually I wouldn't have to be there all the time, but I'm doing both. I'm watching the lead stuff for Anastasia, and I'm then in the ensemble stuff. So, like, technically there would be a day off in between if I were one or the other, but I'm both. So I have to know everything.
Yeah, that's a lot of it's a pretty big burden.
It is. But it's been really fun. Yes. And like it's not been as difficult to like learn the different tracks, as they say, as yes.
I've never heard anyone say that.
Yeah, so like if you in professional theater, there are different tracks that you usually take.
Okay.
Usually people...
Like a trolley.
Yes, like a trolley. Like a trolley. And you have to take both of them. You have to know all of the tracks. And so you can like immediately go on the one that does not have people running on it.
Yeah.
So you don't kill them.
Excellent.
Yeah, but it's been really fun.
I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah, it's been tiring.
Yeah, I can see a distant look in your eyes. I think you're the one who's feeling weary. Can you do an old woman voice?
I'm weary. Is that an old woman voice? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like an old man. Yeah. Whenever I was in 9th grade, it was my first play that I ever auditioned for, and they asked me if I could do an old woman voice.
In 9th grade, they asked you to do that?
Yes. It didn't go well.
Just so they could laugh at you, or what?
I guess. I don't know. It didn't go well. I got in the play, but not as an old woman.
Okay.
I came in at the end, and I was, I forget what I was called. I was a woman, and I was like, "You crazy old people! The policeman! I'm calling the police!" I forget.
Madison Epley in the role of a lifetime.
Yes. Yep.
Whenever I think of plays in general or musicals, I sometimes think of To Kill a Mockingbird.
Okay.
Remember Scout Finch and how she dresses up as a big ham?
What? I do not.
Have you seen the movie?
I have seen it, but I do not remember this part.
It was like an old time. It was like back in the 20s or the 30s or something.
It was like the 50s or the 60s, but okay.
Yeah, was it?
Yes.
It really took place in the 50s and 60s?
Yes.
To Kill a Mockingbird?
No, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant like when it was filmed.
Oh,
I was like, Dylan, no.
No. I was a little confused there for a second.
Oh, yeah, sorry. My bad.
Back when they had all the kids line up and dress as different like foods.
It was
and, like...
probably longer in the past than the 20s.
Oh.
Maybe? I don't know. I don't know why I'm talking.
The
I have literally no
1820s,
idea.
before the Civil War.
1920s. Sorry.
But she dresses up as a giant ham.
For what?
Which actually saves her from getting stabbed.
What?
By the villain of the book/movie.
Wait, when does she dress up as a ham?
She dresses up as a ham for the school play.
Okay. Wait, what? Why? What play was this? Like the Christmas feast, and she was the ham.
Things were different back in the 20s/50s/60s.
/ whenever, who the hell knows?
And then she's walking through a forest, and the villain of the book/movie, who's angry at her dad, comes out of the woods, and he's drunk, and he's gonna kill her. And then Boo Radley saves Scout Finch, by killing that man who tries to stab her, but her ham costume saves her.
I literally don't remember this at all. I remember Boo Radley saving her.
Yeah.
That's not how I recall it happening.
But the weird thing is, Boo Radley has a knife, right?
Yes.
And he just happens to be in the forest at the same time as, like, when this altercation takes place.
Yeah.
I'm like, why was he there with a fucking knife?
Because everyone was so afraid of Boo Radley, and they knew something was up with him, and something was up with him, and he just happened to be there. And he's like, oh, I have to save this child so that I don't look like the bad guy. And then after he saves her, he'd go back and continue, like, gutting a deer or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, that actually does make sense. I have such a vague memory of that book and movie, but
I actually just I made that whole thing up. I don't know, actually. You were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, wait, no, Dylan, please. I just made that up, please.
This is the most. We have covered so many topics already in just this intro alone.
Yeah. Like...
This is the My Existential Crisis.
Crisis?
We're truly having a crisis existentially.
I'm having a crisis.
This is the variety hour for My Existential Crisis. Take it away.
Okay. This is my existential crisis. The podcast where we talk about all the things that make us question our entire sense of self. My name is Madison Epley.
And my name is Dylan Berger. But we're going to be talking about today the second part of your story that you have for us.
Yes, we are. Are you ready to dive into this?
No.
Okay, cool.
You have a talent for finding the most fucked up stories.
Again,
week after week.
I don't realize
week after by week.
Week after by week.
Week after every other week.
Yeah. Well, I don't realize that they're the most awful stories until I do them, and then it's too late. I'm already like 3 hours into research, and like it's just I gotta go with it. I can't just abandon ship. So here we are. Again, my sources. The main one was the documentary on Netflix, Abducted in Plain Sight. Also, Newsweek, Wikipedia, New York Post, Vanity Fair, Independent, Today, ET Online, and Investigation Discovery.
A lot of sources. Okay.
But yeah, so just like as a recap, what do you remember? Jog our memories for us, and then I'll fill in the gaps.
So there were the Bobs.
Yes. Bob Broberg and
Bob Berchtold.
Berchtold.
And Bob Broberg's family was a family of, I don't know, like 5 or 6. They had like a few daughters.
3 daughters. A few sons. No sons, just
no
3
sons.
daughters.
And this is the worst recap.
I'm so sorry.
Berchtold came over with a fruit basket and said, how do you do?
Yes.
And they became fast friends.
Yes.
Famous friends.
And infamous friends, maybe.
And then Berchtold began taking advantage of the family.
Yes.
And then kidnapped Jan.
Yes.
And brainwashed her.
Yes.
To believe that she had been abducted by aliens.
Yes.
And then she was saved by police, but she was still under the assumption that she was going to be vaporized.
Yes.
If she didn't follow the orders that she was given.
Yes. So I that was pretty much spot on.
Okay.
But just to fill in a couple gaps.
No, I think I got it.
You got it?
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay, actually, we're just going to close the book here. We're not going to keep going. That's it.
So what are the gaps here? What did I miss?
Yeah, no, not a ton. Just as they're going to come up again, a reminder that both Mary Ann and Bob Broberg had sexual encounters of their own with B. And the very last thing, Jan, again, still brainwashed. They're acting like everything is fine and like going back to normal as, things were before. And the FBI told the family to stay away from B because this was a very serious matter and just stay away from all of the Berchtolds entirely. But they didn't listen. And that's where we pick up.
It must have been a hell of a fruit basket.
It must have been.
I got friggin' dragon fruit, kumquats, kiwis. Where you get kiwis this time of year?
I don't know, especially in the 1970s, right? I don't know, fuck, I know.
The 1920s/1950s
Slash
1960s/1970s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So now we're fast forwarding a little bit.
Okay.
They didn't listen to the FBI. They're still very friendly with the Berchtolds.
Why is Bob Berchtold not in prison?
So the FBI
Yes.
did arrest him. They did press charges against him, and there is an investigation pending. He's waiting to go to trial currently.
Oh, I see.
So that's basically what's happening.
But he paid bail and
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know if there was bail, honestly. I genuinely I think it was a thing where like you can go without bail if you just promise to come back whenever the court date actually is.
Do you promise?
Basically.
Better not be lying.
Basically. Yeah. So there is a current investigation happening, but they're still friends with the Berchtolds.
Yeah. Okay.
So Christmas Eve, and Gail Berchtold,
Mhm.
Bee's wife, if you remember,
Mhm.
comes to the door and asks to talk to Bob alone. And they talk for a while in the den, and then Gail left. She asked them to drop all the charges against her husband, B. They were asked to sign the affidavits that the Berchtolds created for them, or else the Berchtolds would expose what happened between Mary Ann and B. And Mary Ann's reaction, sorry, it makes me so mad. It infuriates me. She says, "Oh, I felt so bad for like what I had done and for how I could let it affect my husband. Like, oh no, I couldn't let that happen. So I signed the affidavits."
What about the daughter?
Right?
Okay.
The affidavit said, just a couple quotes, quote, "My daughter was not taken by force or against her will, nor confined against her will while she was in the company of the defendant. Regardless, she's a minor. That's not her choice to make. So, bullshit." It also said, "I honestly believe there is a strong possibility that the defendant was under the impression that he had my husband's consent to take my daughter with him when he left in October." It also said, "I believe that this matter was unfairly intruded upon the privacy of me and my family. I have the right under the First Amendment to keep these matters within the family, and I feel the interests of justice and society would not be served by continuing to prosecute this matter." So remember, the Berchtolds wrote this for the Brobergs to sign. And they did. And then it just pans to the FBI agent who had been handling the case, and he puts it a lot nicer than I ever would have. And he says, "Here are these people crying about their kid. Meanwhile, I'm here neglecting my own family, trying to help them in all the ways that I can. And all of a sudden, they walk in with these papers saying, 'Oh, we let her go with him.' And they're neglecting their child by like trying to cover up their own shame, and it's just fucked."
A lot of people failed, Jan.
Yes, a lot of people failed, Jan. Mary Ann said the general public was infuriated, rightly, and they would get calls from people that they didn't know asking them, why did they do this? Why did they sign these affidavits? The U.S. federal attorney even called them to their personal home, and he insisted that there still would be a trial, and he actually overruled the motion for the case to be dismissed.
Good, okay.
So the case goes forward.
Yeah.
And B goes to trial, but now there are 0 witnesses.
Oh.
Yeah. And again, as the FBI agent said, the Brobergs took the government's case and stomped on it. By Brobergs, I mean Mary Ann and Bob, not Jan or anybody else. And this is an instance where, just personally, I very much believe that there should have been like some type of charge for obstruction of justice or something, because like all of those resources and time wasted, like, and you're just gonna then write it off like nothing. Like, it just makes me so mad. Like all the other cases that could have been used, like that could have used those resources, and it just makes me so angry. So B's trial that was set to continue on was eventually postponed, and he was released without bail, again with the promise to return to court when he needed to.
Mm-hmm.
B actually moved to Ogden, Utah, and he went to go sell cars at his brother's dealership. And Gail stayed behind with the kids, and they were just waiting for B to get back on his feet and figure things out. But B would still come home every weekend, and go to church, and people would pat him on the back and say like, oh, we know you've been ill, and like we just hope this all passes for you, and you know that you get back on your feet and get your life together. Yeah. So the Brobergs again continued their relationship, even though he was moved away a little bit farther with B and the Berchtolds, and they were very kind to each other. The families were very kind to each other, and Jan recalls that the first time she saw B after the kidnapping was at night in her bedroom.
What?
And she was awoken by the intercom box, the alien intercom box, speaking to her again.
She has an intercom box.
It was just there.
It was there?
Like, she woke up to it.
Oh.
There. Like, it was there and speaking to her, and that's how she woke up.
So the Brobergs allowed him in their daughter's
Yes.
bedroom at night.
Yes. Yes.
This is okay.
Yeah.
All right. Please continue.
Yep. So B came back and he would talk about the mission and how it has to continue and plans for them to be together and reminders of the rules that she can't talk to her dad or any men, can't talk about what's happening between them. She would even get notes in school telling her where to go after school to receive like messages from the aliens. Like, I don't know how she was getting these notes, but they were from B, and it would be like, go to the telephone booth at 4:00 after school and call this number, and she'd call or wait for a call and like be told instructions by the aliens.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine this happening, like this continuing to happen this way.
Yeah.
It feels like at the end of part 1, that's where the story should have ended.
Right? And it doesn't.
Okay.
Remember, these are the kidnappings, plural, of Jan Broberg.
Just 2, right?
And we only went to 1.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's 2. She would also receive letters from B, love letters, telling her, like, oh, what he was going through and how much he missed her and how much he loved her. And she would write love letters back. You know, she was, like, 11, 12, thinking she was in love with this person. She said that she recalled very clearly this switch from, like, loving him as a dad to loving him as, like, another, like, a husband or something at that age.
Okay.
Yeah. And she actually even told her parents that she loved B and wanted to marry him and have his children. Like, she was then upfront with her parents about that. So now we're going to go to the spring of 1975. During all of this, during all of what I just said, B is calling Mary Ann every day, telling her how much he loves her and wants to be with her.
Oh.
So naturally, of course.
Is this reciprocated?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And naturally, Mary Ann asked, why did you marry Jan? You know, if you want to be with me, why did you marry Jan? And B said, you know, if you come and talk to me personally, I'll tell you all the details. I'll explain everything.
Wait, but B isn't married to Jan. Oh, no, wait, the Mexico thing.
The Mexico thing, yes.
Gotcha.
They got married in Mexico. They did annul it because it's not legal in the U.S., but, you know, still. So Mary Ann went over to his motorhome after he was off of work, and he kept saying how much he loved her and that they could have a great life together if she would just get divorced from Bob. And one thing led to another in their motorhome, and Mary Ann ended up having an affair with B. Went all the way this time. And then 5 days later, B called Bob and told him, hey, guess what? I slept with your wife. And Bob said that's when trouble started with his marriage. Not before.
All right, now I'm getting angry.
This is when things are bad. And the affair between Mary Ann and B lasted for 8 months. And she admits that she was in love with him very much. And it was a very exciting point in her life. And Bob said that at that point, he knew that B just wanted to get to Jan. And he was like, I'll have none of it. And
oh, my God.
Yeah. And again, just for reference, between April of 1975, during all this, through March of the next year, Mary Ann saw B 11 different times. And during that period, B visited Jan 9 times, twice of which he spent the night with her alone. And, Bob, he's like, I gotta fix this. Like, my family's falling apart. He goes to the bishop and he makes a decision. He's gonna file for divorce. Marianne was served with a subpoena.
The bishop's like, this is way
this
is beyond my pay grade.
Basically. Marianne was served with a subpoena that she had to leave the home because Bob's saying now she's endangering the kids.
Oh, now.
Now.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah.
And Marianne said, I was shocked that he would do that. I just thought that was hilarious.
What is this dynamic?
I have no fucking clue.
I don't think I've ever met people like this before.
Like, I can't wrap my brain around it. I really can't. And I a lot of like.
It sounds like you're making this shit up.
Right?
Is this a bullshit or no shit secretly?
And like, that's the thing. Like, in this documentary and in the show miniseries that she then created, or movie or whatever it was about this whole thing, she's like, this is going to sound crazy, but this actually happened to me and my family, and it could happen to you guys. I have a very hard time believing that, like, I get that this happened to them, but there are so many red flags. Like, they're not just red. Like, they are blaring alarms that they're just not following. Like, I don't get it. If you, like, listen to the phone calls, too, and, like, listen to them actually talk about it, it'll make you even more mad, because while there is some fury and anger behind their voices, so much of it is just like nonchalant, like, we didn't know, we had no idea, and it's just so maddening. Anyway, so B is trying to instigate and really like pull Bob and Marianne apart to make sure that this divorce is going through. Marianne insisted, like, I'm not going to leave my husband. And B said, well, he clearly doesn't want you. Look what he's doing to you. And then he's like, I'm going to help you. We're going to get an attorney. And I can guarantee that you're going to get custody of the kids. You can live out here with me, because Bob is a homosexual. And
yeah, he yanked me off in the car.
Yeah. Yeah. And Marianne's like, that's not true. And she went home to Bob, where they reunited after promising to get B out of their lives.
Yeah.
Spoiler
at this
alert.
point, which is like
yeah,
years too late.
Yeah. It doesn't happen yet, even still. So now this is 20 months after the kidnapping. Boing. B pled guilty to felony kidnapping, and he was sentenced to 5 years, which then got cut down to 45 days.
I was about to say, even 5 years seems a little short. It
so,
cut down for 45 days for what?
For him, because it was a plea deal, or because good behavior. Who the fuck knows? Yeah. He was supposed to report to jail within 3 months.
On a promise. You got to promise to come.
On a promise. You got to promise. Now, again, there's another super fucking wacky part of the story. So random. B ends up purchasing, like, a family fun center. Like, a whole, like, family fun center. Think of, like, a Chuck E. Cheese or something. I don't know.
He becomes a Chuck E. Cheese franchisee.
Yeah, basically. So he bought this family fun center in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Jackson Hole?
Jackson Hole.
How does Jackson feel about it?
Not great. And Jan wanted to work there for the summer so she could be with B. Still, again, madly in love with him, thinking they're going to be together.
Is she old enough to work?
She's 13
at this
point. So no, she's not. Back in the 70s, maybe. Okay. You can get away with a lot, but
obviously.
Yeah, clearly. Finally, her parents refused.
We're really putting our foot down.
Oh, you just wait to see how far that foot's going down. But Jan, quote unquote, made life miserable in the house by picking on her sisters, screaming, demanding that she do what she wanted without question. Like, her parents have no say in her life. And B called the house one day and said, don't hang up. Jan said that she's going to come with me for the summer, and she's going to hitchhike and walk the highway if you don't let her come. So what did they do? Marianne booked her a flight to Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Oh, God.
B picked her up from the airport.
Never go to Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Never. And there, Jan lived with B in his motorhome for 2 weeks, where the mission continued. There are some very disturbing recordings of them during this time, and it would not sound disturbing or sinister if you didn't know what was happening, which makes it, like, all the worse. Like, it just sounds like a dad and, like, this very young daughter voice talking together. They talk about the day that they had and Sesame Street and, like, child things. Mm-hmm. And then all this is happening as well. It's awful. B said to Jan, me and Gail were going to get a divorce and now we can be together. And B's brother was actually there with them in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And he said that during this time, B was the happiest he'd ever seen him. Both of them were. And eventually he was like, this has gone on far enough. And he said, Jan, you should probably go home. And Jan said that she would rather die than go back home. Well, someone ended up booking her a flight back home. And she was furious that she had to go. And to her family, like, as soon as she came back, she had taken on this whole new persona, made their life a living hell. And again, cut back to Jan. She had, like, the literal weight of the world on her shoulders. She thought, like, a planet was, like, actually at stake for her. She thought her family was actually at stake for all of this. And, like, the clock was ticking. Like, she's got to get this done. Mary Ann recalled that afterwards, B called her. He would call her over and over again and tell her, me and Jan are going to be together. Like, if we have to go to, like, the jungles of Africa, like, we're going to be together and you can't do anything about it. And Mary Ann said to leave her and her family alone and to never speak to them again. And this made B very mad, which is what led to her second disappearance.
I thought that was just the second disappearance.
No, because they knew they knew where she was.
So this is essentially 3 kidnappings.
3, essentially, yes.
Okay.
3. August 10th, 1976, day 1. It had only been a few weeks since Jan returned from this 2-week getaway with B and was still causing chaos in the home. Mary said that she saw Jan huffing away to bed, but the next morning she calls Jan down and she's not there. Again, as wholesome as this family tries to be, Bob apparently plays the piano every morning to get the daughters to wake up. But Jan wasn't stirring, so they went downstairs and there was a note instead of Jan. And it said, Bob and Mary Ann, you won't let me do what's right, so I will do what's wrong. I am leaving without B, and I do not plan on coming back until you accept me as me. I cannot accept your religion or your screwed up morals. I just want to be me and have B. Please, before all of us are destroyed, let me go. Now, okay, first of all, I think there's a typo because it says I'm leaving without B. I don't...
Oh?
Actually, no, it's not a typo because she ends up, quote unquote, leaving without B. She runs away. Like, runs away.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry.
But later in the message it says that she is intending to go to B?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
She's also 13.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
If it helps. And there's a lot of misspellings in there because she's 13. And B actually called Mary Ann that morning and said, oh my gosh, Jan called me and said that she had run away and she wouldn't even tell me where she was. And I'm so worried about her. Like, are you worried? Have you heard from her? And 2 or 3 days go by and they describe it as indescribable agony. But again, they don't call the police. They don't call for help.
So it can't be indescribable agony.
No,
really.
no. They told people that she was staying with her grandmother. And Mary Ann said, quote, we were so afraid of people finding out that she was missing again, kidnapped.
People finding out? Is that what they're worried about?
And that they just didn't want the press to be notified at that point.
Okay.
It wasn't until 2 weeks later this time that they called the FBI agent to get help. 2 weeks.
Imagine this is the same FBI agent.
It was the same FBI agent. It was.
He's like, this shit again.
They're like, we know where to go. This guy. Yeah. Yeah. And so the FBI agent immediately calls B and he's like, hey, you have to know where Jan is, right? And B said, no, I don't know where she is and I'm so worried. And, pleading for the FBI agent, you have to find her. You have to find her. So now, with Jan missing for 3 weeks, B began his jail sentence. And with good behavior time, he only spent 10 days in jail.
10 days?
10 days.
How much good behavior can he even show in 10 days?
For a felony charge of kidnapping.
For how many years was he meant to?
5.
5?
To then 45 days. To then 10 days.
Out on good behavior.
Yep. Yep. And when he got out, he moved into his motorhome and then he vanished. They didn't know. They knew he was living in a motorhome. They didn't know where. And he would call in to Mary Ann and the Brobergs every day to quote unquote check in on Jan if they had heard any news, to like relay any news that he might had, because for like 3 months now, for 3 months, he is going to call Mary Ann and the Brobergs and ask about Jan, or say, oh, Jan called me, but she still won't tell me where she is, or, you know, she's selling drugs and prostituting herself for money, and it's just like back and forth. The FBI are recording all of this, and finally, they found the motorhome that B was living in. Uh-huh. They didn't go busting the doors down. They just put it under surveillance for a couple weeks to just see what was happening.
A surveillance for weeks?
2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
2 to 3 weeks. At which point, then an agent knocked on the door.
So the surveillance was really for nothing.
For nothing, yeah.
So it's like they show up, they wait.
We're going to wait. Weeks, we're going to watch.
And then they just do
like,
what they could have done 2 to 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Just knock on the door.
Gotcha.
And they knew that B knew where Jan was, or else, you know, he would be looking for her if he didn't, because he loved her so much.
Yeah.
And they saw that B had like poster-sized images of Jan in his trailer, like all throughout, and they described it as kind of like a worship area, like a temple almost that he made, a shrine. Months later, probably like November, I think now. This is August whenever she left. We're jumping through to November now.
Okay. Sorry, I'm so a little floored by the posters.
Yeah. Months later, I think again around November, Jan actually ends up calling back home. And her sister picks up the phone and, you know, she said, "Hi, it's me." Like, all chipper. Her sisters are starting to sob, and like her family's sobbing, and she's like, "I just wanted to call and say that like I wanted to hear your voice. I love you guys. I'm fine." But like the nonchalance of like the parents, like of course they're like, "Oh my gosh, Jan, oh my gosh." But then she's like, "I have to go." And they're like, "Okay, bye. See ya." Just so casual. November 11th. The day 102 of her second disappearance, now third if you want to count it that way. Agents observed B was walking to a phone booth, and he was on the phone for about 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And when he left, agents went in, and he left the phone book open with a number written in it. They were able to trace this number back to Pasadena, California.
Okay.
And went to an all-girls Catholic school. And the FBI said that they called the number and explained the situation over and over and over. They were very hesitant to like believe the FBI or like let them in on the information, but finally they found that, you know, Jan was in fact under an alias there, under Jan Tober, I believe. Tobler, yes. So now we're gonna flash back quickly to what Jan recalls for the day of her kidnapping. In August, Jan said that she opened the bedroom window. B was there to help her out, and they drove to California together, and he enrolled her into an all-girls Catholic boarding school. That's where she's been the entire time, safe and sound. However, B was close enough to her that he could visit on the weekends, and B told the nuns that Jan was his daughter, and that he was a CIA agent that had escaped from Lebanon, and her mother was killed. And the story was set up so the nuns would know that anyone who called or might be looking for her or him were the bad guys just trying to get to B, you know, because he was this top secret CIA agent. B was arrested the day after the FBI found Jan for a felony probation violation, and they were both taken back to Idaho. Jan said that she was forced onto a plane and she was fingerprinted, and she had to spend time in jail herself, just like to be placed there, waiting for her to go home.
Okay.
Not to actually like serve time or anything. And she said that whenever she walked back into her home, winter, and her mother was standing at the sink washing dishes, and she just like walked in the door, no announcement, put her head down and went to her room. Like, just ignored everybody. Her family and herself recalls that there was nothing like left of that little girl that was there. She was like emotionally just like gone, just not present. So now, January 24th, Jan has been home for 38 days now, and Bob, the father, was waken up by a phone call, and his employee was screaming at him that his flower shop that he owned was on fire. They ran over, but it was burning so badly that nothing could be done, and it actually burnt down an entire block of the street that it was on.
Wow.
Yeah. And Jan said that she recalled her dad holding like her and her sisters and saying like, "Let it burn. Everything that's important to me is right here in my arms." Yeah. And Jan said that she felt this immense guilt because she thought that this fire was started because of something that she had done.
Was it B?
It was B.
It was B.
B was behind it. The FBI never thought that Bob was in danger until the building burned down. They tried to charge B with arson and robbery after he convinced two of his former cellmates to do the arson.
So he was... the probation thing. Yes. And then he was let go? He was punished for breaking probation or whatever?
So he was arrested for probation, but again, I believe, awaiting for a trial.
Yeah, for the sexual assault of a child.
Yes, and again, it was like, you better come back to court whenever you're ready. Whenever we're ready for you.
Take your time.
Take your time. Yeah, just be ready, you know.
No rush. And when you get into prison, you'll probably be out in 10 days?
Yeah.
45 days?
Yeah.
You won't serve 5 years.
Definitely not. Yeah. So, speaking of the trial, they were able to convict the two felons, but they couldn't pin B because he wasn't actually the one who did it. It was just a he said type of thing.
Okay.
But the trial for the second kidnapping, the violation of parole, impersonation of a CIA agent, and all the other crimes ended in B being acquitted. By reason of mental defect.
Oh.
Yes.
The mental defect being?
Him. I don't know. It's just mental defect.
Shouldn't it be a specific disorder that they attribute it to?
You'd think. So instead, they didn't, he was acquitted.
Yeah.
But he was away. He was court ordered to go to a mental health facility in June, and he was released less than 6 months later. So not even jail, just therapy. He beat it all. He got away with it all. Why? Because the Brobergs protected him. And again, during all of this, the Brobergs, Mary Ann and Bob, did not tell the FBI about their own experiences and sexual encounters and things with B, which is where they really could have pinned him for.
Yeah.
Obviously not for consenting with an adult, but that would have then made the mental defect argument null and void.
Right.
But no, they kept it buried for years.
Does somebody revenge kill this guy, or is there?
I wish.
Does he actually? What happens?
Okay, well, there's more to the story.
Oh,
it's literally not over yet.
Okay, I see.
It's still here. It's still going on. June of 76. 18 months after Jan returned home, she was still fixated on the mission that was never completed. She is still brainwashed. She said that at this point there was still communication with B, but not as much.
Yeah.
And later she recalls that she thinks that he was losing interest because she was getting older. She ended up going to a drama camp with her friends and recalls a boy who liked her bought her ice cream, and she was so worried that something bad was going to happen because it wasn't B, it was somebody else. And that night, she goes and calls her mom, and her mom said, oh, yeah, the dogs are really sick. I don't know what's wrong with them. They're just having a bad day. And Jan, breaks down, and she's like, I did it. I have to go home. This is my fault. Thinking that it was brought on by that. And the next morning, her mom called back and said, the dogs are fine. And then that's kind of whenever the gears started to shift, maybe this isn't real. But it still took up until her 16th birthday, which was still years later.
Mm-hmm.
She was still in a panic. She said that she thought if she wasn't pregnant by then, she said that she was going to get a gun, tell Susan about the mission, who was supposed to be the backup if she failed.
Holy shit.
And if Susan didn't want to do it, Jan would shoot Susan and then kill herself.
Jesus.
Yes. She was so upset the day of her birthday. She was very worried, very panicked. And she said the day after her birthday, everyone was still there. Everything was fine. And she said that she went through so many different emotions and realized that she probably needed to tell somebody at that point.
Uh-huh.
So eventually she told her parents, and they couldn't believe what she was telling them. And her sister Karen says that she believes that's why her parents never probed more into what happened during the kidnappings, because they didn't want to know. Which is very evident, because it was too painful for them to picture what was happening to their daughter and realizing they allowed it to happen.
They did allow it to happen.
They did allow it to happen. Yeah. So 28 years later.
Okay.
28 years later, Mary Ann and Jan wrote a book together on the events, and it was published in 2003. They traveled around doing different speaking engagements, both for press in the book and also because Jan is now a motivational speaker on like child abuse and awareness and things like that. And they said that B tried to show up to these events that they were speaking to, and now B was continuing to attack them in a different way, coming out to the press, speaking out against them, telling them it was all lies, distributing flyers around their hometown addressing the false statements and telling the truth. He, at this point, aired out the parents' dirty laundry, saying that they let him get to Jan in exchange for sexual favors with them. Jan ended up having to file a stalking conjunction as an adult to get him to stop. She hadn't seen him in 30 years. And then there he was wreaking havoc on their lives again. And she's again coming face to face with this person. And he's denying everything that happened. And it was really heartbreaking because they put, all of it's heartbreaking, but they put in some footage from like the stalking injunction that they had. And like Jan, like they're talking to each other directly. And like B is questioning her, like, is this why you did this? Did you do this so that you can get movie rights? Like, why did you tell this story? Just so that you can get, like, press or fame or something? And she's like, like, how can you look at me like that and, like, say that? Anyway. So they were able to get the injunction, not for the customary 3 years, but for the remainder of B's life. So finally something is going right.
That's, like, the smallest concession that I could possibly think of.
Yeah. That will be the only concession.
Really?
Yes. So... Again, after this stalking injunction was filed, Jan was at a press event for her book, and her security was BACA. Have you heard of BACA? Mm-mm. It's Bikers Against Child Abuse. And, like, that was their security. Like, they were parked out front and, like, just, like, very protective over people, like, survivors.
Sure.
B approached them.
Okay.
Started making threats, and ran over one of the bikers before driving off. Now, B's brother said... The bikers were the one who attached themselves to his car, and they recognized him, and they said, "Let's get him!" And B was only trying to protect himself, and whenever he was trying to get away and drive away, he just happened to accidentally hit one of the bikers as he was fleeing for his life.
Yeah.
But he did have a gun, which is a felony for him because he's a felon. So he was arrested and charged with 3 felonies and 2 misdemeanors. He was found guilty on all charges. And B was instructed to go back the next week to be sentenced. You gotta come back again. Come back to be sentenced.
Is this really... maybe this just shows my ignorance about this kind of thing, but is this really how the judicial system works?
Yes.
Like, they just trust that you come back?
Unless they think you're a flight risk.
Okay.
Then they'll put bail on you. Why they didn't consider him a flight risk, I have no idea. Because he should have been.
It's where they're so lax. I remember... getting called for jury duty, but I didn't see the letter because I used to never check my mail, like, at all. But if you don't respond to the jury duty summons, like, you could potentially be sent to jail.
Yeah.
Or you get a fine.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, like, if you actually commit crimes and have guns and hit people with your car, then you're free to show up at the designated time.
Yeah, I mean, like, even... remember the UCLA scandal with the cheating and the... like nepotism, like getting people in with all of those people, they had to, usually people have to report to prison. Like, they're not like arrested and taken there. Like, once you're charged, you have a certain amount of time to report.
Okay.
And so, like, B had 3 months to report for his 45-day jail sentence.
That's longer than the jail sentence.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And he only ended up spending 10 days of it. Anyway, so he said, you know, if it's even one day I have to spend in prison, it's not going to happen. I'm not going there. And as told by his brother, B took all of his heart medication, followed by Kahlua and milk, and then, you know, committed suicide that way.
Thank God. I feel bad saying that about anybody killing themselves.
I'm mad that, like, more justice wasn't gotten from this. Like, I love Kahlua and milk, to be quite frank. So the fact that he got to enjoy that as his last meal or whatever, it really pisses me off.
That'd be funny if you're on death row and they ask what you want for your last meal. Kahlua and milk, please.
I'll have a steak and some Kahlua and milk.
It's like, are you sure? You want to die even earlier? Or?
Yes, I do. Jan said that 6 women had come forward to tell her that they too had been abused by B as children. And in one of those cases, B was found guilty and he did spend a year in jail before meeting the Brobergs. And Jan says that she's been able to forgive her parents by helping them forgive themselves. And she says that the person she would like to forget about most in the world is the person she thinks about every day. And that's the story of Jan Broberg.
That is a hell of a story.
Yeah.
I think that is definitely top 3 worst stories that we've covered.
Sorry.
So far.
I'm so sorry.
What do you think are the top 3 like darkest, most distressing topics that we've covered?
This one for sure. I think not the Natalia Grace one, but like the actual real. Remember that one? Like the Natalia Grace was. I mean, that is awful, actually. It was the child who was disabled, and her adopted parents just abandoned her. But the other one that was like, this one was actually inspired by the orphan, not the other way around.
Right.
With like the children who were like in.
Yeah, eating their own legs in the basement.
I don't think they were eating their own legs, were they?
No? Yeah, I think that was the thing, right? They were trapped in cages in the basement and forced to eat their legs or something. Were they?
I didn't realize.
I remember it was comically. Like absurdly dark.
Yeah, absurdly dark. Yeah, that is that is might be the darkest. But this is not great either.
Well, this is.
I don't know.
I mean, the show isn't called My Wonderful
Existential
Life. Crisis.
It's a Wonderful Life.
The podcast.
The podcast.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's just so infuriating.
It is. I've never heard that story before.
Me neither.
Again, I'm pretty up to date with like true crime stuff.
Me too. And like again, going into this story, did not intend for it to be a 2-parter. Did not intend for it to be as dark as it was. I thought it was going to be something like Mormons be crazy, like there they go again. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, folks, never accept a gift basket or a fruit basket rather from anyone in your life, because they have nothing but ill intentions for you.
Yeah, those edible arrangements, throw them out. You see one of those at your doorstep, get it out of here.
Absolutely not. It's probably poison.
Probably.
Well, thank you so much, Madison.
Yeah, sorry again, it was so bad. But I'm excited to hear what you have to lift spirits and make things not as traumatic, I guess.
Well, we'll be talking about spirits, in fact. Okay. To start off my segment, I have a question. What's the worst drink you've ever had? Some kind of alcoholic cocktail?
The worst drink I've ever had?
Yes.
Jeez. Well, I don't like soda.
Like any kind of like alcohol or...
I know. Vodka, probably.
Vodka? A specific kind of vodka? Like,
just like
Pinnacle Whip?
Straight... That don't you rag on Pinnacle Whip.
You actually enjoy Pinnacle Whip?
That and a White Russian is so good.
You and your Kahlúas and milks.
I love White Russians. They're so good.
Okay, well,
it's like chocolate milk.
Speaking on behalf of the lactose-sensitive people in our audience, I hope you enjoy that while other people can't.
Well, straight vodka is disgusting.
Yes, it is.
I could never.
You worked as a head lobster at Red Lobster, is that correct?
I did. I was a bartendress. A barmaid, as one of my clients would say.
Was there, which they shouldn't have.
No.
Was there anything on the Red Lobster drink menu that made you double take?
Yes, there was. For a New Year's Eve promotion, we had this really insane Bloody Mary. I can't do that. It's Bloody Mary mix. All of the really gross things you put in a Bloody Mary. It had like a rim of like Old Bay, like a spicy Old Bay.
Yeah.
It had a lobster claw in it. It had a cheddar bay biscuit in it, and like a couple shrimps, like cocktail shrimp things.
Oh, okay.
It was a lot.
Okay, it's like drinking a shrimp cocktail, kind of.
Yeah.
With the marinara sauce and everything.
Yes, actually, yes. With vodka, then. It's a vodka marinara sauce.
Sounds fucking terrible.
It's awful.
Personally, my worst drink was a mix of Fireball whiskey and eggnog.
Why would you do that?
Well,
It's not gonna curdle.
Let me tell you what. My hangover was so bad, I started watching Duck Dynasty, just to give you an idea. The world is full of terrible drinks, and some you can get at a bar, and others you have to go searching for. And today, I'd like to talk about 5 of the worst drinks available for human consumption.
Okay, this is interesting.
I searched high and low for the most disgusting examples of human ingenuity.
What is this?
And as a trigger warning, do not listen if you feel sensitive about animal cruelty.
Okay.
Number 1.
Oh, shit.
Or if you have a sensitive stomach. Number 2.
I have a sensitive stomach, and I am sensitive to animal cruelty.
Okay.
Are pickles involved?
No pickles are involved.
Okay.
Pickling is involved.
Okay.
With that, let's begin.
Okay, fuck.
We're starting with a real classic. You might have shared this around Christmas time with family.
Eggnog?
That's right. We're talking about baby mouse wine.
What the fuck?
Or BMW.
What the fuck?
When I say baby mouse wine, what springs to baby mouse mind?
I wasn't ready for that. I think of a baby mouse with like a sleep cap on, and he's
that's cute.
drinking a glass of wine.
That's delightful. It's like something you see in front of a box of tea.
Yeah.
Well, the drink comes from Asia. It's contested if it's from either China or Korea.
Okay.
And this is how it's made.
Oh no.
To start, the baby mice have to be under 72 hours old.
Oh no.
Their eyes have to still be closed.
Oh my god.
I'm guessing so their innocence isn't shattered by this cruel world. And around a dozen of these baby mice are then dropped into a bottle of rice wine, which is then sealed and left to ferment for a year. It's said that when you drink this wine, it has curative properties, helping with asthma, specifically, Madison.
So I should drink it. Is it 12 baby mice?
I'm not sure. Yeah, around a dozen of the baby mice.
A dozen?
Yeah.
Oh, and there's 72. Okay.
I mean, their eyes aren't even open yet, so
I
they don't.
know.
Like, that helps.
Are they alive?
Yeah. Here's a question. Considering the properties that this drink has, helping with asthma specifically, if you were having a horrible asthma attack and you didn't have your inhaler, but some weirdo pulls out a bottle of baby mouse wine, what would you do?
I would not drink it. What kind of question is that?
You'd rather die than not drink BMW?
Yes.
Okay.
Do some breathing exercises or something. Breathe in a plastic bag or something. I don't know.
I know we covered moral dilemmas last episode, so we don't have to get into it.
Okay, cool. It's too late for that.
All right, next drink.
Oh my gosh.
And this one might be even worse, if you can believe it.
How?
Changa, or changa, is a traditional spirit homebrewed in Kenya. The word changa means, and I'm not making this up, it means kill me quickly.
Okay.
It's made from a few different grains like maize, millet, and sorghum. Sorghum? S-O-R-G-H-U-M. How do you say that?
Sorghum.
Sorghum. Sure.
Sorghum. Sorghum.
Which sounds all right. There's nothing really strange about that combination of grains. But for some background, it was illegal in Kenya for many years before the government legalized it, all in an attempt to reduce instances of adulterated changa.
Oh.
What is adulterated changa?
Yes.
It's the practice of cutting the specific alcohol with additional ingredients like battery acid, embalming fluid,
Oh my gosh.
and literal jet fuel
Oh my gosh.
to give it that little extra something. If you order a changa at Red Lobster, they're definitely cutting it with jet fuel.
Absolutely, we are.
The royal we.
The royal we.
The practice of cutting changa with these ingredients, in quotations ingredients, has resulted in blindness and death, either from those ingredients or menthol poisoning.
Oh my gosh.
I guess if you tell the bartender to kill me quickly, they'll either give you changa or Jägermeister. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Next up, Madison, have you ever heard of the sourdough cocktail?
No.
Well, you're about to.
Oh no.
The next cocktail hails from Canada.
Of course it would. Where David hails.
To provide some context, the tale of the sourdough begins in 1920.
What is it, like a moose?
A moose?
A moose? Like a sourdough?
Oh, it's not from a moose.
No. Oh.
Rum runners Louis and Otto Lincoln got caught in a blizzard.
Okay.
On their trip, Louis accidentally stepped into freezing water and got frostbite. Returning to their cabin, Louis was at risk of gangrene, so Otto did what he had to. He chopped off Louis's toe He then put that toe in alcohol to honor the event.
Jeez.
50 years later, Captain Dick Stevenson found the jar and started the Sour Toe Cocktail Club.
Oh.
It's a bar in Yukon that requires a membership. And to get that membership, guess what you have to do?
Give away your toe.
No. No, you don't have to give away your toe.
You must do it for the cause.
You have to... The bartender's limping around.
Yeah.
You have to drink a sour toe cocktail that contains a mummified human toe.
Oh my gosh.
You have to finish the cocktail, and your lips need to touch the toe.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna throw up. Oh my gosh.
This is where things get pretty fucked up.
This?
Starting now.
This is where they get fucked?
In 2013, a man purposefully swallowed the toe, and then he was chased out of town.
Oh my god. Wait, why was he chased out of town?
Because they were pissed. They only had the one toe. Now they're toeless.
Get another toe.
Well.
Oh my gosh.
They actually did find another toe.
How do you find another toe?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
In the street? In the sewer?
You can still try the sour toe cocktail today.
In Canada?
In Canada, in the Yukon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Do you win any money if you drink it or something?
No, you just get to join the club.
Just the esteem of being part of the Sour Toe Club.
Bunch of creepy people who love licking toes, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, there are plenty of subreddits about that, I'm sure.
I don't know if our friend Tony listens, but Tony, if you listen, here's looking at you, kid.
Yeah, you got toes in the name, Tony. It was faded. Next on our list, we're talking about tuna tears.
Oh no.
This drink hails from South Korea. I gotta stop saying hails. This drink, hailing well met. Toe lickers.
Toe lickers.
It hails from South Korea. It's called Tamchi Nummulju in Korean.
Tamchi Numble Juice?
Yeah. Yeah. I love the name Tuna Tears. It's almost poetic in a way.
Is it?
A tuna sheds a tear, and no one knows.
Is it really a tear shed? Who knows?
What do you think the main ingredient is in tuna tears?
Tuna.
Yes, but what part of the tuna?
Tuna tears? Tuna eyes?
That's correct.
Oh no!
It is made of raw tuna eye lenses.
Lenses,
all mashed up. That mixture is then combined with soju, which is a kind of rice liquor. Even with the liquor, however, the drink retains its jelly-like consistency.
Oh my gosh.
And because of that gelatin, collagen, and vitamin E in the drink, it has anti-aging effects.
Oh,
and
yay.
anti-wrinkle effects.
Oh, okay. Makes it better.
Yeah. As for the taste, it's described as salty.
I bet. I bet.
Now, as a man who's 29 going on 40, I might consider tuna tears. Maybe a shot of tuna tears followed up with some battery acid for a little kick.
Yep.
All right, the last item on the list is something we've all heard about before. Prison wine. Or hooch.
Oh no. Okay.
That said, I'm not sure that many listeners know the process of making prison wine.
Yeah.
Although...
I do.
You do?
I do.
Oh, please, take it away.
No, please. I know that it's a toilet.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there is alcohol involved. Or no, they have to make the alcohol, rather. They have to make it. What do they... Juice? Is it juice?
Well, they gather fruits.
Yep.
Fruit cocktails,
Yeah.
sugar, water, bread, and other miscellaneous ingredients at the sommelier's disposal.
Put in a toilet.
And they place it in a toilet tank or a trash bag and allow the ingredients to warm and ferment. Once that chemical reaction has taken place, usually over the course of a few days, you have your hooch.
Yeah.
And that prison hooch will usually contain anywhere from 2% to 14% alcohol.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Give me some hooch.
The taste is described as a bile-flavored wine cooler.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't know there was any other kind, to be honest. So the creation of prison wine has been linked to outbreaks of botulism, which can lead to paralysis and death.
Yeah, not great.
Have you ever had prison hooch?
I haven't had the pleasure. But I have in my time, I have watched a couple prison shows, not Orange is the New Black, but like actual prison shows where they show you how to make, like they show you how to get away with shit. Yeah. Like making prison hooch or like passing notes through the toilets and the pipes.
Yeah.
It's wild.
So if you're ever arrested and you end up in prison, you'll be the the prison vintner.
I will be the vintner. Yes, I will be the prison vintner. I'll make different flavors. So one might be like orange. One might be
that's fun.
Just like bread. I don't know.
This hooch is bread flavored.
Bread. Isn't that what beer is? Bread flavored?
Yeah, essentially. Okay, although I don't
like beer.
Most people don't say like this beer has hints of bread.
Okay, well, anytime I have beer and I say that's disgusting, it tastes like raw dough, or like yeast or something, like bread.
Yeah.
And they say, well, yeah, it's like liquefied bread, man. And I'm like, that's disgusting.
You don't like beer?
No, I don't like
any kinds of beer.
No, I don't.
Really? Okay.
I've tried many, and every time I make the same face, and I hate it. Yes, that face. That's the face.
So that's surprising.
Yeah.
No,
why?
you just no beer agrees with you.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. There was only one that I had. We were like at PJ Wellahan's, I think, with David's family, and his brother got like this orangish fruit beer that I could stomach, but it still wasn't great. That was like the best beer I'd ever tasted for being me, but like it wasn't. I wouldn't drink it. I wouldn't order it.
So what is usually your drink of choice then?
I like white wine. I'm a Moscato or like Chardonnay girly.
Okay.
Or like Sauvignon Blanc can be good. If it's not too dry, I can drink it. If it's too dry, I can't do it. But I also like cocktails. Obviously, my White Russians.
Your Kahlua and milk.
Kahlua and milk.
Famously.
Man. It's great. A little ice cube in there, make it all nice and cold. But I like rum is like my liquor of choice.
Rum? Really?
Really?
That's...
like a Captain Morgan?
Okay.
Captain and juice. Oh, it's so good. Because like the spice rum makes like the juice nice and spiced, and like it's so good.
Yeah, gotcha.
Don't knock it till you try it.
I remember. Well, I'm usually like a cranberry vodka kind of guy. But people call me a sorority girl for that. So.
Why? Have your cranberry vodka.
I know, and I do.
Good.
I enjoy it.
Call him a sorority girl.
I remember going to a bar back in college, and I didn't know, it was like the first time I went to a bar, and I had like a can that I finished. Okay. And I went up to the bartender, and I was like, do you have a garbage can?
Oh, no.
And she made me a garbage can, which is a Red Bull in some other kind of liquor. And I was like, no I need to throw this away. I was very embarrassed.
I thought she was going to laugh at you.
Like,
this is the garbage can. The whole world.
All right. So we've reached the conclusion of this short and not so sweet segment.
No.
And I have an important question.
Okay.
If you had to drink one of the 5 drinks mentioned today, which would it be? They include Baby Mouse wine.
Baby Mouse wine.
Baby Mouse wine. Adulterated changa. The sourdough cocktail. Tuna tears. And prison wine.
Okay. Honestly, probably prison wine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because at least they put it in a bag. It doesn't get like...
It's like a trash bag.
Yeah, but it's better than drinking animals or humans or like... I could not drink the baby mouth. I could not get that image. I would throw up.
You should see bottles of this stuff because they all float to the top.
Oh no!
And it's like a big mass of dead baby mice at the top of the bottle.
Gosh. I'm gonna have to put this on the Instagram.
It's like the most fucked up boba tea.
Oh no! Oh no! Why would you say that? Oh, the pops! Oh no! My brain! I hate that. I'm not even feeling it, but I feel like I can feel it. I couldn't do the gelatinous texture of the tuna tears.
Yeah.
So I think prison hooch is gonna have to be it.
Well, the tuna tears, I believe, is usually served as a shot. If that changes anything.
Doesn't help it for the hooch. For the prison hooch,
I think you just like prison wine. I think that you're just.
I like wine. If I had to choose.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think I'd probably go with the sourdough cocktail. To be honest.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It seems
Next
like
time we go to Canada, come with us. We'll go to Yukon.
Yukon, yeah, the Yukon Club in Canada.
We'll go there, and we will get you a sour toe cocktail.
I want to be a member of that club and say, yes, my lips did touch the toe.
My lips did touch the toe.
Sources are Forbes, Wikipedia, as always, Chef's Pencil, Lehrman Beverage Law.
Chef's Pencil?
Yeah. And this one's funny. Banyan Treatment Center. So those are all
Treatment Center.
Yeah, that was where I got the information about the prison wine.
Yeah.
Because some people have problems, like they need the hooch.
They need the hooch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for this. I was going to ask in the beginning, like, what does this have to do with my existential crisis? And now I realize that this is my existential crisis. Yeah. This just is it.
It is extremely fucked up.
I also have to say, I love the different, like, topics and routes that we've taken.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely. Like, I love how it's just not, like, conventional. I mean, with mine, it's just awful. But, like, you mix things up, and it's really good.
Thank you. I famously don't understand the assignment.
You do a really great job not understanding and still having it come off legible.
I appreciate it. I like stuff that's adjacent to true crime that's still in that realm.
And just like weird and gross, and that's what this is.
Absolutely.
Weird and gross, and here we are.
Here we are, folks. Here we are. You heard it here worst.
Yep. Well, thanks, Dylan.
Thank you, Madison.
I appreciate this. You were wonderful, as always. If you want to follow us, you can do so on Instagram and Facebook at MECrisisPod. We also have an email address, myexistentialcrisispodcast@gmail.com. If you want to send us topic ideas, feel free to do so. If you want to tell us how we were, feel free to do so, unless it's bad.
In which case, just send it to my personal email address.
just start DMing Dylan on Instagram or whatever he uses.
Yes, at Marblefolk, MARBLEFOLK.
Yeah.
Favorite stone, favorite genre.
Aw. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, somebody was like, your Instagram handle should be your favorite stone and your favorite genre of music.
Who said that?
A guy I met at a Starbucks a long time ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Emerald Indie.
That's pretty cool.
Emerald Indie is nice. Okay. All right.
All right, folks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
And bye.
Bye.